Just want to bring in our QB1, Matt Ryan, tapping in this morning on the Morning Buzz. And Matt, you've told us since week one and even this summer that when it comes to young QBs, it's going to take some time. We just didn't know it was going to take Caleb going to London in week 5 and getting it done. Your thoughts on what you saw there from him?
I thought he played really well. I looked at it yesterday. I think he's been improving for like the last 3 or 4 weeks, and you've seen it kind of in his decision making, his timing. The accuracy, throwing the football down the field. I think he struggled early on with accuracy down the field, but he's gotten a lot better in that respect. I think Shane Waldron has done a good job of kind of figuring out what works. You know, it's one thing during training camp to have a feel for what he might like or what he says he likes, and then it's another thing to see it come out in live action and to get a feel for that. So I think the two of them are getting on the same page. Wide receivers look good. I was really impressed with Caleb yesterday, and I was very unimpressed with the British accents that you guys had just a minute ago.
Wait. No, not you guys. It's just one. It wasn't me. It wasn't me.
Matt,
put that on me, Matt.
Matt, do you have a better British accent? I'm just curious. If you have one, I would love to hear it real quick.
Listen, I stay in my lane. I know what I can do. I know what I can't do.
There you go.
Clearly, you're not in that space.
Cook my Matty Ice on a Monday. I love it.
One after the other. Sometimes my accent can be a little bit decent. I feel like if I really, really get into my bag. But I'll say that for a little bit, because what I want to get to right now is we heard from Andre Cisco, or we saw him for a second in the highlight package. Then we heard from him after the game, kind of calling out his teammates, and then we're going to follow that sound up with Doug Pearson from this morning, moments ago. We'll play the sound for you guys now.
I don't know, I just felt like it was, how should I say this? A lot of quit. And, I don't know, last line of defense, in a situation like that, you can feel when we're playing as one and when we're not. And felt very early in the game, kind of once things maybe at a halftime, that we weren't playing as one.
How concerning is that?
Extremely, and dangerous. We laying our bodies on the line, and guys you gotta understand, like, when you're out there, you really playing for your brother. Like, you putting guys in vulnerable positions, whether that's physically or just like, from a career aspect. Like, take care of each other when we out there, like, at the least, even if things start to get bad. So, yeah, just not a good product at all. There's no excuse for lack of effort. Like, that's literally the least you could do, is come out and give effort. And I'm not calling, like, I'm saying that to myself too. Like, so, that's always the mindset, is like, come out, give your best. If it's not perfect, it's not perfect. But, I think, watching the film, we'll see what it was.
I'm wondering if you talked to him about that, what your thoughts are about that?
I haven't seen the players today. Being the schedule's a little bit different. They're off today. We're going to work tomorrow. Be like our Monday before we head into the week. I would like just to get some clarification from his side. I don't think he meant it in a obviously it's his observation, but I don't think it was necessarily meant to harm anything or point a finger at anybody or anything like that. I think sometimes when you get in a game like yesterday, that sometimes is the feeling. We've been on the other side of that too, where we've had games where we felt like we've had that type of success, and you feel that way with your opponent. But again, I don't think it was necessarily a finger pointing.
So, Matt, that's the words from the head coach. If you're in that locker room, I'm sure that those words of Andre Cisco probably have made their rounds, and the teammates have heard those things that he said. How do you take that as a teammate of Cisco if he's saying that, hey, I think guys on our team quit?
I mean, I don't think he's wrong. When you watch them and the way that they played, they've had other teams impose their will on them at different points throughout the season, and it did feel like that ball or that game kind of snowballed as it went on in the second half. And so, I think they're at a crossroads. I really do, as an organization, of what direction we're going to go. And I think that they've got to correct it this week. And I think you can tell by his tone too, not just what he said, but how he said it. There was a seriousness to it, and it wasn't like this crazy emotional rant where he was just in the moment. There was a level of seriousness to it that I think all of those guys need to be feeling. And as players, you know, you've got to find a way to scratch claw and eke out a win this week, because if not, it's going to be an interesting, you know, trip back for the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Yeah, it's not looking pretty, 1-5, and it's not like they get a chance to go back to Duval because they run it back against the Patriots there. And then if it goes to 1-6, as you mentioned, Matt, it can get pretty ugly very soon. So we'll see how that pans out. All right? All right. Matt, as always, appreciate you stopping by and let him know he's always wrong with this accent thing. I really appreciate you, man. You have no idea how happy this makes me feel on a Monday. I appreciate it.
Cheerio, it's some
Understood.
chips.
Understood. I got your back.
Stop it. Stop it, Matt. Told you to stop.